blah, 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 blah. So you're a Hogwarts student, you're entering your first year, everything's lovely, everything's great, and you go through the rigmarole of sort of tapping to get your stuff for school in Diagon Alley. You then go to school and you take classes, and then you have a rival who's in Slytherin. So if you're a Gryffindor, that's fun for you, I guess. I'm not a Gryffindor. I'm a Hufflepuff. Recently discovered I'm a Hufflepuff. It was a strange moment for me because I always thought I was a Ravenclaw. But we're getting off track here, which is another title for this show, by the way. Basically, you're tapping along and you're doing all of the tapping that you do in these games. There's very little actual gameplay. All you're doing is pressing the screen in specific places, and you're expending energy, which you get back over time. It takes about 4 minutes for a single energy point to regenerate. You have a limited number of energy points that you can have at any given time. I think you start with 24. And of course, doing each of these individual actions requires that you take up energy. So early on in the game, your rival tricks you into going into this corridor where there's some snares, some devil snare, which is like this magical plant. If you're familiar with the Harry Potter series, you know what it does, but it's a magical plant that like acts like a boa constrictor, basically. Suddenly you're trapped by this devil snare. It's super scary. Actually, I think your best friend is the one who's trapped by the devil snare. Super scary, awful, and you're tapping away. So here's the thing: if you go into this for the first time as your new character in the game, you actually don't have enough energy to start off with to fight off this devil snare this early in the game. You actually don't have enough to do it just all in one go. Even if you go in with full energy, it takes more than that base level of 24 for you to get through. So you can do it and you can wait, right? You can wait until you get enough energy replenished to finish the challenge, and that's a perfectly acceptable way of doing it. The other thing that you could do, if you were a young impressionable child watching somebody that you've started, your avatar has begun to have an immediate rapport with. This is a person who's kind of a bit of a nerd and has never really had any friends, and is your friend and is the only person at Hogwarts that you're pals with. I mean, hell, this is your Ron Weasley. So you're watching him get strangled to death. You could, I don't know, spend a little bit of money to buy some gemstones, which will allow you to replenish your energy immediately. This is my problem with this game. It's barely a game, okay? It's just tapping. And if you are tapping too quickly, you're going to miss any semblance of story. And all you're doing is tapping, and it's basically just a farm to do microtransactions, and it's a farm to make children want to do microtransactions, to make these children want to spend money, to drain them drip by drip. And like, by the way, these gems aren't fucking cheap. Like, it's like I don't have the game downloaded on my phone anymore because I deleted it because it's a piece of shit. But it's like $5 for enough gems to give you one full regen of your power, of your energy. It's not like spending $5 will get you, a week's worth of gameplay or something like that. It's like it's maybe an afternoon for $5 if you're patient or whatever. Now, of course, you can just wait. And that's a perfectly acceptable way of doing things. Of course, different tasks in the game, this one not included, this, strangling simulator not included. There are different tasks, classes and things like that, that have a timer associated with them. And if you don't complete the task by expending enough energy within the period of time of that timer, you fail, and you have to do it all over again. So You have the choice of trying to time it out in such a way that you have enough energy to do things. You have enough time to wait to get enough energy to complete the task of the class, or you could just spend that $5 and get your energy levels back up to full again. That's an option, isn't it? This is gross to me, and it's really disappointing that somebody like J.K. Rowling would hitch her wagon and would be promoting this game in such a way that it's just exploitative of her audience. J.K. Rowling is somebody who was supposed to be principled, is supposed to give a shit about these sorts of things. Now, ultimately, she probably has very little decision-making power in terms of how this game is actually produced and what the content of it is and blah 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 blah. That having been said, I don't think she needs to be promoting it, which I know that she has, and it's kind of upsetting to see. So I'm personally waiting to. I will download the game again. I'm waiting for it to be out of beta, so that I can give it the low star rating that it deserves. It is not a game. It is a loosely defined story that encourages young impressionable fans of the Harry Potter series to spend money in order to progress with very limited reward systems attached to it. If you're a fan of video game journalist, I guess is the best way to put him, Jim Sterling, he did a special edition of the Jimquisition this week. I'll link to it in the show notes, where he makes this point a little bit more saliently than I did here, just simply because he's talking in his own language, I guess. He's talking about games, and that's something he's good at, which is probably good because he's been doing it as a career for several years. So we're coming towards the end of the program here, and I do want to say we did start this first episode here in May, and that means that I do have to give out some shout-outs from Patreon. Of course, if you're interested in supporting the John Dulong Show, you can go on ahead, go into patreon.com/the John Dulong Show or johndulong.com/Patreon, whatever floats your boat. And for as little as $1 a month, you can get access to secret RSS feed, various other reward tiers there. If we make it to $25, what I'm going to do for every month that we stay at $25, I will release an additional bonus podcast to the feed. It'll be a full-length episode of the show. And I've thought about this, doing an extra episode of the show, as it normally stands, with me sort of rambling about different areas in the news that I've stuck in my craw. That's maybe not the best thing to do for this little bonus episode. It'll be a full, numbered episode of the show, but it's maybe not the best idea for the bonus episode. So what I've thought instead, what we might do is that do sort of for as long as there are these bonus pods, do a very special look at some sort of television show, maybe just go through a season of a show over, an episode or a couple of episodes, and sort of talk about things and sort of, if you listen to our good friends over at the Elwood City Limits podcast, they have a really great sort of way that they break down individual episodes of Arthur. Similar sort of thing. And what I'm thinking is, what show do I know better than any else? And I thought about doing this maybe as its own podcast on a separate feed, but maybe just treat this as sort of a pilot if I were to ever to do that. Another Simpsons podcast is what I'm thinking I might call it. So maybe do an episodic look at The Simpsons in that sort of blow-by-blow sort of way that shows like ECL or The West Wing Weekly do. So that's something to sort of keep in mind if you want to be like Ben Bates or Will Young of the Elwood City Limits podcast and contribute some dollars over at John Dulong Show, patreon.com/the John Dulong Show or johndulong.com/Patreon. So that's that. But before we get into the jangly banjo music, we're almost there. I'm going to give you a little public service announcement, a little service from the John DuLong Show here. It is Monday, which means you have 6 days to think about something for Mother's Day. Call your mother. Mother's Day this Sunday. I'm looking out for you. I'm looking out for you there. I'm a total mama's boy, so I will be making sure that I reach out to my mother this very Sunday. And with that, I think we're going to hear the jangly banjo music. I think it's coming right now. Wait, no. I can't do the outro yet. Completely forgot. I did set up at the top of the show that I was going to talk about Liverpool Football Club for a second. And I'm going to make it a quick second because we only have a couple of minutes left in the episode. Liverpool's through the fucking finals of the UEFA Champions League. Like I said, I haven't watched. I've watched this weekend's game. Basically, I think it's if we win one of two, either Chelsea or Brighton, we make the top four, which means we qualify for the Champions League next season. But ultimately, the next really important game is Kiev, baby. We're going to Kiev, going to the Ukraine to face off against Real Madrid. Here's the thing. Real Madrid, obviously one of the top, I would say, 3 sides in the world right now. It's not like they're slouches. It's not like they're bums. They're one of the best sides in history, quite frankly. They are not the same team that Liverpool played the last time that we played them in the Champions League, when we fielded a team that I think had Fabio Borini at the point of attack, which it's not going to be a walk in the park by any stretch of the imagination. But this Madrid team has not taken on this Liverpool team, and on any given day. This is the thing I love about football. On any given day, Liverpool can do it against any major team in the world. We did it against Manchester City 3 times this season. If you can do that to Manchester City, there's a chance that you can do that in 90 minutes to Real Madrid. I'm not saying that I'm guaranteeing or believe that we're going to win the Champions League. What I'm believing is that there's an actual hope. Now, it's the hope that kills you, don't get me wrong. But... it could actually happen. Reason number 6. I will be watching with bated breath, hopefully with a bunch of other supporters. There's a supporters club here in Halifax. Well, it's over in Dartmouth usually. I'll be trying to get over to watch the game with the other supporters, and hopefully it'll be a celebratory mood. Anywho. There's the jangly banjo music as promised. Which, of course, means this show is produced by me with music from Moan Plays here. You can check them out at loyaltyfreakmusic.com. Also, art by Skylar Greencorn, who you can check out at artstation.com/sgreencorn. You can follow me on social media at Jibberdy, Jiberdy, and follow the show on Facebook /The John DuLong Show. You can email into the show at johndulong@gmail.com and answer this week's prompt. What do you have to do in order for it to feel like spring? You can find the show in all the normal podcast places or by going to johndulong.com. And if you could, rate, and review, and subscribe, so that helps get more folks listening. If you want to support the show, go to johndulong.com/Patreon, just like Ben Bates and Will Young did. And for as little as $1, you can get a number of great rewards. Another great way that you can help out is to tell a friend about the show, get the word out, and of course, tune in every single Monday for your weekly dose of the Monday morning nonsense. I don't know if I said the Monday morning nonsense at the top of the show. Don't know if I called that out or not. It's hard to remember. But make sure you remember to call your mother. Anyhow, for John DuLong, I'm John DuLong, and remember, well, we should have known that communism would fail. I mean, there were so many red flags. Thanks. That tag right there was for my good friend Matt Briggs, who will eventually get on the show. Maybe I'll get his wife on like another 2 times before we get him on there. I just like that as a gag. I just really do. I have so much work to do. Seriously, I have a mock trial on Thursday. I have to do a brief for it. I also have to do a 1,000-word essay responding to a piece of media which contains contract law in it somehow. I'm just watching the first episode of Suits and doing it on that. I also have a major exam on Friday.